Deinma, thank you for taking the time out to join us today. Bring us up to speed, first of all, on how the market traded today, the fixed income market. So let's start with the Treasury bills market.
Yeah, the Treasury bills market traded bullish today. We had a lot of demand for Treasury bills on the secondary market. On the medium to short end, we saw rates drop slightly. We're now trading below 8%. So we've seen like fears of the NTB being oversubscribed. So we just had fears play out in the market with a lot of demand there.
Now, for rates at the Treasury bills market, I was having a conversation with a trader some time ago, and he said that at some point they may expect, waiting for when investors will say, you know what, these rates have gone too low. Is that any indication that there might be a pushback, or should we expect rates to continue to go lower?
Well, we expect rates to actually continue to go lower because as of right now, there is really little or no alternative for investment. So with a lot of money out there in the market, we are chasing very few instruments. Rates will continue to plummet. But we expect it to soon reach a stage where people will be rather just hold their money than invest in low-earning instruments.
Can we take a guess as to what that level could be? What, 5%?
Well, it depends on it's hard to say. It depends on the investor's choice. But as at right now, people are still rushing what they see.
Okay, what about the bond market? Bring us up to speed. I see that there's been strong demand at the bond market. Help us understand, talk to us where we're seeing the most activity on the bond curve.
On the bond curve, most activities have been on the short end. What we see is the spillover demand from the Treasury bill markets going into the bond market. So that has also made the bond market rates drop as well. We've seen like people looking for the short end, mainly on the short end of the bond market. We've seen rates drop from 14, where it was initially issued, to about 12 on the short end. And on the long end, it's gone from 14.6 to about 13.
Okay. Now, for both the Treasury bills market and the bond market, fixed income market in general, should we expect, I know we're heading towards the end of the year already, should we expect this trend to continue till the end of the year? And also, let me just push this a little further, just taking us into Q1 of 2020. Should we also expect that this trend will continue, or are you expecting, perhaps you have a different forecast in terms of what could play out in Q1 2020?
Well, for the rest of the year, I expect the trend will continue with little or no instruments to invest in. They've moved from T-bills to the bond market. So the lots of liquidity will be chasing the bonds, thereby driving yields down. For the Q1, except an alternative investment comes out, it's still going to be the same thing.
Okay, let's move on now to the FX space, the foreign exchange market. Bring us up to speed on how the Naira has traded against the dollar this week and the trend that we've seen in the last 2 weeks, especially at the INE window.
On the INE window, we've seen demand continue to outpace supply. It's towards the end of the year, so we're not seeing a lot of fresh funds coming into the country. So as a result of which, we've seen demand continue to spike. We've seen rates trend from 362 levels to 364, all because of local demand. We haven't seen any FPI trying to leave, except for the year-end profits, and that initially took rates up. So far, it's all local demand that is continuing to raise the market up.
But usually what we hear is that, obviously the CBN will continue to do its best to meet demand, and we know that CBN always, sometimes, there are special interventions into the market just to keep the Naira at comfortable levels. Are you saying that that may not necessarily be the case anymore? We could or should expect to see some weakening in the Naira?
No. The CBN window still remains open throughout the year. The CBN hasn't even said any indication of they intend to close this year. So they will continue to defend the Naira going into the next year. It's just on the INE window where we haven't seen as much supply as we used to see. But I'm sure the CBN is also defending that window as well.
Okay, Deinma, thank you for talking to us today. We appreciate your time.